Welcome to the Live Your Dreams podcast, where success leaves clues and someone has your answer. Joined as always with my lovely co-host, Miss Tia Mckisset.
Hello.
Hello, Tia. And first and foremost, your voice sounds much better this week. I know last week you were going through.
I was.
Yeah, but it sounds much better this week. And plus, it's raining a little bit, so that makes it a little bit better outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about living in the moment. And I read this book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and he had a quote. He said, I'm getting older now, and the old tongue loves to wag. It seems like when you get older, you just want to tell stories and, just kind of educate. But, starting off with a story with living in the moment, I never forget. I wouldn't say if I had the opportunity to do over or I'm feeling some sense of regret. But looking back, I never forget talking about living in the moment when my mom passed away. I never forget. I was young. I was 27.
27.
And I think this was I was managing a store, and I got a phone call. It was night. It was at nighttime, and I remember you called me. You said, "Hey, your mom just passed away," and I was like, "Oh no!" And we hung the phone up, and you called me back. Like, hold on, I don't think you understand. Your mom just passed. You have to leave.
Right.
It's like you have to leave. They need you to go down to Georgetown to view the body, And I think, and plus, Georgetown was known, Georgetown Warriors for the basketball team, but Georgetown is a university that actually has a hospital, too, a very good hospital. But my mom was at the hospital, and I never forget that day we took my mom to Georgetown to the hospital. She wasn't doing well. We had just bought a brand new townhome, and she came to live with us. And the night before, it was an emergency. That morning, we took her to the hospital. And I never forget when the doctor said, it's only a couple of options. She may not leave here, or if she does, it's going to be in hospice. And I never forget, now that I'm older, looking back on it. Right. Not saying that I have regrets or anything like that, but I think living in the moment wasn't my best decision to not be there by her side. I think when she was going through, a better use of my time living in the moment would have been there recounting stories or talking to her or whatever it may be. But I think when she went to Georgetown, she lost consciousness. I think they gave her so much morphine.
Oh, right.
She couldn't even, she wasn't conscious. But I know, I think living in the moment, I probably would have spent more time just sitting there talking with her in the last moments. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just seemed like that would have been a better use of my time, living in the moment. So I think sometimes when you look at life and you try to figure out what's the best use of your time, to me, it just seems like it's all family.
Right, me too.
It seems like it's all family, spending time with your family, enjoying your family, because I always say live your dreams, success leaves clues, someone has your answer, but you don't know what tomorrow holds. You don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So why not take the moment and enjoy it, especially if you have family, friends that you could share it with. Why not do that? What do you think about that?
I think it's true. I enjoy being around my family. Also glad to be married to you and be able to spend time. That's very important.
Yeah.
Because my parents are not here either.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think I remember when your mom passed the night before, the triplets, you all spent time with her. So I think we all spent time with her, and especially when your father passed shortly after, we were all there for the last moments. You know what I mean? I mean, the actual last second.
That's true.
And I don't know if that made the pain more bearable.
Or the transition.
More,
it could be scary for people, so they want somebody there because they can hear.
Yep.
So they want somebody there, their family.
Yeah, yeah. So, living in the moment, I think instead of waiting to the last moment of someone's life, because you don't know when, in those situations, it was a little bit more predictable, but you don't know when, why not take today to really enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, because again, that's living in the moment, really
Right.
enjoying your life,
Making memories.
making memories. Yeah, making memories about that. That's really probably a better use of your time when you talk about living in the moment. Because sometimes I'll tell you this, and I'm now like the richest man in Babylon. I'm getting older now. The old tongue loves to wag. I'm almost half of 100. Pretty soon, in maybe 6-7 months, I'll be half of 100. Right.
Right.
But one of the things when you look at that, Tia, and you say, what's the best use of your time, right? You look at a lot of things, I could be guilty of worrying. I could be guilty of thinking some bad things are going to happen. I could be guilty of thinking the sky's going to fall. But looking back, most of the things I worried about, I would say probably, and I'm not exaggerating, 95% of the things I worried about never happened. And then the things that did happen that I thought would happen wasn't that severe, right? I mean, it wasn't that bad. So I think sometimes we worry ourselves to death.
But I think, too, with the worrying, if you have a good support system, you need to go and communicate that, the things that you're worrying about. And maybe your family could come together and solve those problems. Yeah,
and I think you're good at that, especially telling our children that, because sometimes our children worry about things, and you say, if you just
talk about it.
If you just,
why
you
worry
have
about
support
tomorrow?
Yeah, you have support. Why would you go into a tantrum on that when what you're worrying about has a 95% chance of not happening? And probably higher than that, maybe a 99% chance of not happening, but also you have support.
Right.
So some of the things you think may happen may not happen at all anyway.
Right. So I just believe just communicate. Communicate.
That's it. I think, and you've helped me with that because I'm guilty where they say men don't talk. I'm not speaking for all men, but they say men don't talk. But I think when I verbalize some of the things, it makes me feel better.
Right.
And also it makes me realize that, hey, this probably is not going to happen. Even if it does happen, I still have the support of my family where it's not that big of a deal that we may think it is. Because, I look at it like this. Some people may think the sky's going to fall. But if the sun came up for at a minimum of 6,000 years, right? And some would debate that it's been longer than that. But if the sun came up for 6,000 years, it's a great probability it's going to come up tomorrow, right? If the sky hasn't fallen for the last 6,000 years, and again, some could debate that it's been longer than that, but if the sky haven't fallen in 6,000 years, it's a great probability the sky's not going to fall, right?
Right.
So if the sky's not going to fall and the sun's going to come up, what is the worry about? So that's one of the things where you have to have that family support system to talk about these things. Because life can get challenging, for all of us.
And some people don't have a good family life like we do.
Yeah.
And they do worry about what's going to happen for tomorrow.
Yeah, and let's pick that back up after the break, because I want to talk about that, what to do if you may not have that support system. But real quick, we're going to take a break for our sponsor, Short Child Care, short name and long in service. Again, that's Tom Short's quote. But right now, the number's on your screen. Please call that number. There is a waiting list. But again, as the waiting list goes, your child name should be on that, just in case an opening comes. Plus, Short Child Care is working hard to expand. So more to come on that. So again, Short Child Care, short in name, long in service. Okay, thanks to our sponsor, Short Child Care. Again, short in name, long in service. So let's pick that back up, Tia. Because again, sometimes, I could be naive where I believe that everybody has a support system or everybody could have a support system, because I believe there's somebody out there for everybody. And I believe there's always somebody looking for a friend. But if you don't have that support system, what suggestions would you give somebody who don't have that support system?
Maybe they can talk to a friend, somebody like that.
Yeah, talk to a friend. Now, one of the things I've always said, with friends, sometimes you got to be friendly. The more friendly you are, the more friends you'll have. One thing, there's also resources, and again, we're not therapists, anything like that, but there is help out there. I know a lot of times you'll see, because again, you and I watch Fatal Attraction or whatever, and you'll always see at the end, they'll put a number on there. Hey, call 1-800, so-and-so if you needed someone to talk to. So I know there are resources out there.
Right.
There's resources out there for people to talk to if you're going through something like that.
Right.
Because to be able to talk to somebody is valuable. I've learned that. To be able to talk to somebody about what you're going through or maybe going through or think you're going to go through is valuable, And I think also one of the things when you talk about living in the moment, it's hard to live in the moment if your mind is thinking about something that could happen that's not so promising.
The things that you were talking about sound like anxiety.
Yeah. So that's one of the things where you have to make sure that you have somebody to talk about so that you can keep your mind focused on what you want and not focused on what you don't want.
And some people just hold it in, their feelings, and then they just explode or, they don't want to open up.
Yeah, and sometimes that's not good because then the outcome could be severe.
Right.
And it only takes 1 second it's 1 second can really destroy your reputation. And it could take years to build your reputation, but 1 second can destroy your reputation.
That's true.
So you want to be careful so that you don't explode and hold it all in.
Right.
So that's one of the things where I think that's probably the most powerful thing. Talk to somebody. To live in the moment, you have to be able to talk to somebody.
Right.
Right? So you have to be able to share.
That's true.
So when you think about living in the moment, Tia, what does that mean to you, living in the moment?
Well, to me, it means spending time with my family, enjoying each day, like it's your last. Going on trips.
Yeah, getting those memories.
Memories.
Yeah, they always say, if you go through life every day, say, hey, this may be my last day, one day you're going to be right,
Mm-hmm.
and one day it will be your last day. And, when you spend it and you live your life that way, enjoying every day, when you come to that point, there's no regrets.
Mm-hmm. And keep a positive attitude.
Yeah. And, that's one of the things, you talk about living in the moment. I think having a positive attitude has helped me because, again, the same type of energy it takes to have a positive attitude is just the same amount of energy it does to have a negative attitude.
Right.
So why not have a positive attitude? Why not think of looking at the future that's bright? Because none of us are rocks. You can change your life.
And another thing, not comparing yourself to somebody else's life. Be happy with your life.
Yeah, that's one of the things where that's awful. And Tom used to always say, hey, don't compare. Don't compare. Because sometimes you don't know what somebody else did to get, whether it's the perfect marriage or perfect house or perfect job or perfect whatever. You don't know what they did to get it.
And even if they seem to have everything, they may be in debt. You never know.
Yeah, so you don't know. You don't know the whole story.
Right.
Tom said you know the truth, but not the whole truth.
Right.
And so don't compare yourself to nobody because you really don't know. And again, you have the capability of building the life that you want. So if you want more money, you can do it.
Right.
If you want more friends, you could do it. If you want a better or a larger business, you could build it. The key is you can do it. What's so funny, especially now that I'm, working on myself,
right?
Especially with the weight loss, I've noticed that it was me all the time. That every time you saw me, I was eating a cookie or something. You know what I mean? I was doing something that make the weight come, right? So it wasn't like the world was out to get me. It was me. And it's just like now that the weight's coming off, it's me. Because I'm doing push-ups, I'm walking, it's me. So I think the key is with life, it's you. It's
That's
me.
True. Right.
So if you want to build a bigger business or whatever it is, it's you. So you got to do more.
Right.
You know, Steve Harvey always say, hey, you know, if you're sleeping more than, and I'm not saying you're not supposed to sleep. I'm not saying that. I don't want nobody to say, oh, he's saying, but he's just saying, if you're sleeping more than 6 hours, you're losing it. Because again, you should be building, right? That's time somebody, I assure you, somebody's staying up late studying. I assure you someone's standing up late planning. I assure you someone's standing up late working on their craft, right? I assure you, because that's how you get it. You know, I didn't know that the individuals in school that was getting straight A's was studying more.
Right.
It wasn't that I was dumb or our friends were dumb. We just wasn't studying. You know what I mean? We just wasn't studying.
Right.
But now that I'm getting older, I realize that the people who got straight A's just studied. It's not rocket science.
Right.
Right? So living in the moment is really working on yourself.
That's
right?
true.
It's really working on yourself, putting that mirror up and said, hey, I want to do more.
And just love yourself.
That's it. Love yourself. Because that's one of the things, because if you're not going to love yourself, nobody else is going to love you.
That's true.
And you know, you learn that. You gotta look in the mirror and really love yourself, man. You know? So in closing on living in the moment, what else do you have for us, Tia? Anything else?
I just say, you know, be there for your family, create memories with your children and your family. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. And memories are great when you go back down and you look at some of the pictures or the videos, and it really makes you feel good. Right?
That's why I like doing this podcast, because it's memories.
It is. Because, again, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, we can go look back and say, wow, you know, I remember that, or whatever it was, you know, because then I'm sure 10 years from now the studio will be larger. We'll be like, remember we were in the smaller studio, you know, or you could look back and say, hey, you remember that? And so those are the memories. Plus to build something is really great too.
Right.
It's always to build something, you know.
That's true.
Out of complete darkness came something, you know. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch the whole podcast, like, subscribe, share. And again, I'll see you. And yes, I do mean you. Living your dreams. Peace.